Do you like this show? Would you like to make your own? Let me tell you about Anchor. First of all, it's free. No, I'm serious. It is free. Also, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now you can even add any song you want from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are literally endless for what you can create, whether it's music analysis, your own radio show, or something the world's never heard before. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey everybody, welcome to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. I'm Christy Brower here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey Katie.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going.
I know you have a very special treat for us.
I have a little show and tell. Am I the kind of person that spends perfectly good money on wigs for my pets? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And I took one for the team here because I don't think you guys are going to hate this.
No, you are not going to hate this. You are going to love this. Welcome, Cranky JR, Red Girl, Moonbeam, RJ, Jacqueline, and GB. You guys are here in time for some show and tell.
Hey,
Berserker. Glad you are going to be grateful you are here at the beginning of the show in just a moment.
Moonbeam. Yeah. Yes. I really do need to say that no one was injured in the making of these photos, and also lots of treats were given. So without further ado, this is Little Blue, our Basset Corgi mix. I really had to hold her head because she looks
like she's been out in a windstorm.
I know. She definitely wants to talk to the manager, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
And then Fiona.
Is she wearing a turtleneck and studying philosophy? Just curious.
She looks like she should be, right? And Ziggy.
Oh, Ziggy.
Who also wants to talk to the manager, I think.
Yes. Looks like a middle-aged housewife to me. Probably drinks white wine, I'm thinking.
Probably, yeah. I think so. Yep, for sure. And Rico. This would kill me.
I think Rico's a little drunk. Maybe he had a tumble or two.
I have a bunch of pictures of him. These are a couple of the best ones. This one.
That's better.
This is for his Tinder profile.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is for his Tinder profile.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of got the smolder going on. The I will hate you forever for this look, I think.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then just a bonus picture of Fiona. We have died today.
Oh, these are fantastic. Worth every dime.
Mm-hmm. So sadly, I have no pictures of Skippy, my other little chihuahua, because he bit me too much.
Well, he is 100 years old. He's like, you're not making fun of me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What a day we have had. It took quite a bit of snacks with the pigs to
I bet it did. I'm impressed that they're like standing there with a wig on. Like, that's pretty good.
Well, it has an elastic thing that goes under their chin.
Oh, does it? Oh, I didn't even notice. Perfect.
So once you get it on, it's and with the dogs, they would just, get a paw up there and yank it off. But the pigs they're not built that way.
Yeah, they don't bend like that.
Their arms, they don't bend like that. And they don't reach their front paws would never reach their face. So anyway, or front hooves, I should say. Would be correct.
GB says, your pigs seem so chill.
They
Hey,
can be.
Ashley.
They're really chill right now because they've had dinner and they've already gone to bed. They're laying on the couch in a big piggy pile, sound asleep. But it looks like real human hair. I know it's kind of a convincing little wig, and I left it last night on my end table. And I walked out this morning in the, like early morning light and saw it sitting there and it scared the crap out of me.
What the
Way too
hell?
much true
Oh,
crime in my head. Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
They are definitely full of treats and resentment, both.
Oh, it was worth every dime, every
For
treat.
sure. I saw one of those costumes today that is the big spider legs that people put on their dogs, like a little
Oh,
black dog, and
yeah.
it looks like a black spider. Wouldn't that be hysterical on Fiona?
Yes, it would.
I was trying to decide if it was worth the $9 to order it. It probably is. Probably
We're
is.
trying to get it on her. Holy hell. I've seen you try to put a
That
harness on her.
See, I think Scott could pull it off without getting bit.
Probably.
She'd probably bite me, but
Mhm.
Scott is her person. Oh my God.
Right.
She has also been in heat this week. And you guys, this pig is so freaking weird. When she's in heat, she puts her front paws up on Scott's desk chair in his office and tap dances all over the living room with it all night long. Until occasionally she just tips it completely over. It had been this summer, she had discovered a 55-gallon barrel in the backyard that she was doing the same thing to and pushing it hard. So, I don't know what people driving by think, but I
Yeah.
was so mad at her by the time I got out of bed the other morning. I had listened to her tap dance around the living room all night long. Yeah,
I had a bunny
I don't know
years
what's wrong with
ago
her.
that used to pin my cats down and do that when she was in
Mhm.
heat.
Yeah, yeah.
Also hilarious.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Well,
And now Craigie wants to see a video of that. I should probably
there
it
you go.
I have a video somewhere. It is really funny. I And if when people come over here when she's in heat, not to us, she doesn't do this to us, but oh my God, she loves our sister Kara and her husband Justin like you cannot believe.
Oh, yeah.
She will just, uh, you know, assault them.
Yes.
Yeah, but only when she's in heat. Now, why hasn't this pig been fixed? That's a really good question. Zig is fixed, and we have no intention of ever having piglets. Partly because there's way too many piglets. And little pigs that are going into shelters and stuff because mini pigs are not easy to have as pets. They are not.
No.
And people see cute pigs on the internet, well, like mine, and you look at them and go, oh, I want one of those. Truth is, they're really tough to have. They're very destructive to your home. There's a lot of really fun parts about having them and some very challenging ones. So,
Right.
because of that, there's this huge bloom of mini pigs in rescues and needing rescues and stuff.
Yes.
I get hit up all the time
Hmm.
to see if I could take another one, and I cannot. The two I
Yeah.
have are all I can handle. I'll share them on social media. I will try. I'll reach out to other pig people, but oh God, two's enough. But at any rate, Elizabeth said you just described my children. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, people call mini pigs belligerent toddlers for a reason, and they stay that way, and they live till they're like 25. So you've got long-term belligerent toddlers in your house.
Right.
But at any rate, so we're not going to breed her ever. The other reason is because their survival rate in piglets is only about 30%. And
God.
so you will have a good part of your litter die. And I just can't. My heart can't do it. I can't even imagine what that would
No.
do to me.
That would be
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. So for lots of reasons, we'll never breed her. So she should be fixed. But fixing sows is kind of problematic. They don't do very well with anesthesia, and we've kind of been chickens about it. And honestly, probably should someday, but it hasn't happened yet.
For now, you just have the chair.
Yeah. Now the chair just gets its monthly molesting, and there you go.
GB, that changes Charlotte's Web for me. Right.
Oh, no kidding.
Reality.
Yes,
Well,
it was the same thing did happen with 101 Dalmatians. Yep,
yeah.
because Dalmatians are not easy dogs, and a lot of
Right.
Dalmatians have deafness or other physical issues. Yeah.
It's true. Absolutely. And speaking of reality, we have some serious true crime updates to get to, you guys. There are so many updates.
We are 100% in the Twilight Zone. You cannot make this shit up. This is better than Stephen King these days. It is
These
crazy
days,
what we're
it
seeing.
is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get right to it. Let's get to Gabby Petito first. You've
Yeah.
probably heard this, but if you haven't, the coroner in Teton County, Wyoming, his name is Dr. Brent Blue, ruled her cause of death strangulation.
Yeah.
Called it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to celebrate it because it's
No.
awful.
And
So
confirmed homicide.
yes, yeah. So we already knew they were calling it homicide. Now they're confirming that for sure it is a homicide and that she did die by strangulation.
Mm-hmm.
He would not say anything else, and by Wyoming state law, they can't release anything else.
They did say that they have DNA. There is
Yes,
foreign DNA that they
they
are
did say
processing.
that. He
Mm-hmm.
did kind of slip and make a little comment about domestic violence that I found
Yes, he did.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 3 to 4 weeks. She was dead 3 to 4 weeks before found. And he
Yep.
did say a little something about domestic violence, which sort of, led me to think that he thinks it probably was Brian. But they cannot say that publicly. There has not been a warrant for Brian's arrest for murder.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
I don't know
coming.
if that'll come or not, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. A
Oh,
dog did.
we'll get
Dog
to
dropped out of
dogs.
the search. Dog injured his
We hurt his
ankle.
ankle.
He
Darn it.
apparently sprained his ankle or something, and had to go back to Colorado uh, to the doctor. I didn't know. I did not know this. Apparently, they don't have doctors in Florida.
I didn't know either.
But he's gone back. I know. We're so mean. We just don't like him. But
No.
anyway,
I
he
wish
did
we could
help
tell
bring
you
more
what.
awareness to the case and more publicity to it, however. So I'll definitely give him that.
He
Yeah.
did, and he's apparently now at his, what did they call it? Kind of like his lair, his command center. Still looking for
Lair.
him from there. I know that is, yeah. You cannot make up updates. Yes.
Yes, that's lately. I mean, the news has not always been this crazy, but boy, lately,
It
I
has
caramba.
gotten pretty crazy.
Ooh,
So,
yeah.
so much still to come on Gabby Petito, of course, but now, I mean, the good news is they know her cause of death,
Yep.
which
And
gives them
also her
a
body's
lot.
been released to her family.
Yes, it has. Yeah, they were able to go and get her body, and there's some good things there. They have some evidence. They can prove that she was killed. They can prove that it was strangulation. Sometimes in these cases they struggle to prove those things. And I mean, she had 3 to 4 weeks of time to decompose, and so in the elements. So I think it's good, frankly, that there's at least this much. They did not release toxicology, so there may be information there.
They did verify that she was not pregnant. There was a lot of
They
rumors
did,
circulating that
yes.
she was pregnant. She was not.
Yes. Not pregnant. That was not the cause of any of this. So, but the time of death is interesting. 3 to 4 weeks
Yeah.
before being found, which really means that she died not very long after they got to that area. Like we know there was an incident with them in the Mary Piglets on the 27th of August, and no one physically saw her after that date.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's likely that day or the day after is when she was killed.
Mm-hmm.
Was she in a shallow grave?
Okay, so what we were told through the grapevine of the people that found her was that it looked like he had tried to dig a little bit, but the ground there is like sheer rocks. It's really hard, gravelly stuff.
Yeah.
And it looked like he had tried to dig a bit of a grave, but wasn't very successful, and mostly had just put rocks and branches and stuff on top of her.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was sort of in a grave, not really, mostly just covered a little bit by, bushes and stuff that were around.
Yeah. Yep. And there had been some predation, but not nearly as much as we were worried about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she wasn't just bones. There was still a fair amount of
She still had tissue.
tissue. Yeah. I mean, her dad identified her.
Yeah, yeah, he
Yeah.
was able to identify her on scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would take more than 3 to 4 weeks to be bones.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they did find her in enough time for there to be some evidence, and so later on down the road, that's gonna be really important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the foreign DNA is important. I mean, you would assume this is her boyfriend, she's been living with him, that she would have some of his DNA on her anyway. But
Right,
were they defensive wounds? Did she have DNA under her fingernails? Those are things that would be interesting to know.
right.
And maybe we'll know that at some point, maybe we won't. But it's good. This is another good step, and it's another step towards an arrest warrant for murder, not just the credit card fraud. And it also is another step towards squeezing his parents.
Yeah, it is, it is. I mean, they cannot pretend like they didn't know that he killed her now, or that she was killed, I guess,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's give a little update in the Cassidy Rainwater case. So,
Yeah, haha.
this is so bizarre. We've reported on this already that the house where she was being kept, and still they have not said that they have identified her body. However, the house, the pictures where she was being kept in the cage burned down last week. What we know now is that there were two homemade bombs with tripwires on the property. So we had reported one before. We now know there were actually two,
Mhm.
and that they were homemade.
Mhm.
They've not come out and given the cause of the fire, but I will say this: they only had to detonate one bomb,
Mhm.
and the house burned down. So we may be able to extrapolate from that that the other bomb is what started the fire in the house. We're not sure, but I will tell you this: somebody did not want anybody going in that house.
Yeah.
I mean, a house burns down during an investigation like this, you can't avoid the way that that looks.
Mhm.
Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you very much. The super chat is on. If you guys appreciate our work and want to tip us, you always can do that. It's never expected or required, but always appreciated.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think this is interesting because there's um, so many rumors swirling around the
Yeah.
Cassidy Rainwater case. But this really lends you to think that, yeah, there's something else here. There's something else with this. Why would somebody go to all this trouble? Also, who went to all this trouble?
Yeah.
Because James Phelps and Tim Norton are in jail,
Yeah.
being held without bond.
Yep.
So, you know, really, really interesting. Just a lot to think on,
Mm.
and I'm sure much more to learn later.
Yep. For sure. Well, and so what they're saying is that the sheriff said that they had custody of the home for 7 days, and that they had manpower out there 24/7 for 7 days to be able to fully process the property. After that, they returned it back to the homeowner, who is someone that the house was rented. This property was actually rented. He didn't own it.
Mhm.
And that's when all of this went down.
Yeah. So, somebody out there didn't want this story to be told, that's for sure.
Mhm. Yep. Nope, for sure. So we're gonna
Okay.
see. The sheriff is saying that they are waiting for more lab results to come in before any more charges are filed. They
Yeah.
want to know exactly what's happening first before they, what's actually happened. And as we know, there's been, yeah, oof, a lot of horrible rumors about this case, about what could have possibly happened.
Yeah. Most definitely, but we will see more with that. It just takes time. They're running DNA, which takes a long time.
Yeah,
We'll see more.
yeah.
One more, and then Katie, I'm gonna have you share. But there's potentially a break in the Lauren or Elle Cho case we covered a couple of weeks ago. She
Yeah.
went missing in the Yucca Valley area in California, and a body has been found out in the desert in that area, unidentified human remains.
Mhm.
We do not know if this is her, and they do feel that it's going to take many weeks probably for them to determine if it is her. She's been missing since June 28th.
Yeah.
So if it is her body, um, you know, it could be bones or nearly.
Yeah.
So it'll take a while to know for sure, but there are questions because this body was found in the area where she went missing.
Mhm.
So we'll keep an eye on that and let you know if we see anything more going.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that, Shelby. We really appreciate the super chats and
Yeah.
always helps us just keep doing what we're doing.
So very sad in the whole Elle situation. I'm so sad for her family. I mean, this
Oh
must be
gosh,
an
yeah.
incredibly hard time. Elle or Lauren Cho Wolfman.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a sad time for her family and a hard time because they don't actually know it's her yet, but maybe they
No, they're
do.
just
You know,
waiting with
it's
bated breath.
mhm,
And maybe they know something that has not been released publicly yet, but
mhm.
they may make some kind of a unofficial notification to family, but they can't, they have to confirm.
Yeah.
So we'll see on that. And so Katie, what have you got for us on the Murdaugh case?
Okay. Well, where the hell do we start? All right, you guys know the Alex Murdaugh case. This is the guy whose wife and son were murdered, Maggie and Paul, in June on his property. And since then, we've learned all this wild shit about him. And so, some interesting things coming out this week. Now, as we know, he was a couple of things that we got wrong in the first place. We didn't realize that he actually had been arrested and that hadn't been in the news. So he actually had been arrested and been in court and in the attempted murder of himself, right? And
Or the assisted suicide of the guy
mhm,
he hired to kill him?
yeah.
Still
And
such a
then
weird charge.
yeah, and then had checked into, rehab, and as far as we know, he's still in some rehab somewhere. His brother says this is an OxyContin addiction. Uh, so there's a couple of things, the other thing is that we weren't sure. We knew that his, property was more than 150 acres. It's like 1,500 acres. So
Yeah.
now you know, it's huge. It's crazy.
Mhm.
All right. So a couple of things that have come out this week. So Curtis Smith, this is the guy who is accused of being the failed hitman.
Mhm.
And, Curtis Smith originally was reported as a former drug dealer. That's actually not what the news is calling him at all now. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Now they're calling him former logger and handyman. But he
And
says
and current unsuccessful
assassin.
hitman
Yeah. Well, so
like
you
Alex Cox. Yeah, a little bit, GB.
Yeah. So Murdaugh told this story, about how he had stopped on the side of the road to check a tire, and this truck had pulled past him and turned around in the church parking lot and come back and just leveled a gun at him and shot at him. Right.
Yeah.
So of course this guy says, no, he did hire me. And supposedly, and this is where it gets iffy with his son, right? Because supposedly there would have been $10 million in life insurance that the son would have gotten, Buster, and this
Mhm.
guy was supposed to receive a payout from that. So how involved was Buster? Or was this going to be an after the fact, hey, by the way, kind of situation?
Right.
Very weird,
How did
but
he know he'd get paid after the fact?
yeah. So, but at any rate, he got there. Murdoch put where he was working, looking at his truck. I mean, that was the only part of the narrative that was probably somewhat true. But he says that Murdoch put a loaded gun in his hand and turned around and told him to go ahead and shoot him in the back of the head. Well, Smith, as it turns out, is a very bad killer because he couldn't do it. He chickened out. He couldn't handle it. So Murdoch took the gun back from him. This is Smith's story. Bear that in mind. He says that Murdaugh took the gun back and tried to shoot himself in the head, but missed.
Yeah, unsuccessful here. I do not
Missed.
know.
He grazed the top of his head. So anyway, so that's the story now that Smith and his attorney are telling, and that he didn't even pull the trigger. He didn't do anything. He agreed to help out with this, and then got there and just couldn't do it. So they're both charged in a slew of things from that. So, Elizabeth, very good question. Have they
Yeah,
ruled out the dad in the murders of the wife and son? According to Murdaugh's own attorneys, no, they have not.
right.
His lawyer says that Alex has been a person of interest from the get-go. And he's just barely admitted that today, that he told the Daily Beast that yes, he has been he's been being investigated for that ever since.
Yeah.
But that's only part of it.
Oh my gosh.
This is so bananas. There's an article in the New York Times that came out today, I think. Yeah, today. That is so good. I'm going to share it in the chat for you guys because it really does an excellent job of surmising where we are at up to this point with this case. Because again, this is one of those things that this will make some wild TV, but
Oh man.
there will be movies. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but a couple of things from that article that I thought were interesting. So you remember that there are two other suspicious deaths around this family that we know of. I've actually heard that there may be others that are still kind of coming out of the woodwork, right? But the
Okay.
first one is Stephen Smith.
Yeah.
So Stephen Smith died 6 years ago. He was a kid that lived in their town that was killed in a hit and run and was left in the road dead. He was 19. His death has never been solved, but there have been rumors around their town forever that the older Murdaugh kid had something to do with it.
Right.
So you had this town where you had the haves and the have-nots. You had some really
sure.
rich, spoiled kids, and then you had kids who weren't. And there were some big problems there. So now, because of something they found in Murdaugh's house when they were searching it after those murders, of Paul and Maggie, they have reopened Stephen Smith's case because they know something.
Right.
Well, in the meantime, some people, kind of taking a look at this case, have discovered something really sad about it. Stephen Smith does not have a headstone.
Oh, he
He
doesn't?
comes from a super poor family who have had one hard knock after another in life, and a group of wonderful people who just saw this and went, no, this cannot stand, have formed an organization to fundraise to be able to place a headstone for Stephen and help his mom out.
Oh,
And
I
also
love
to
that.
help her with some legal fees because some shit's going to start rolling down here. So I'm going to post in the
Right.
chat. You can find this on Facebook too. This is the GoFundMe if you want to contribute or take a look at it. They've actually raised $7,500 now, which should buy a beautiful headstone.
Oh, heck
But,
yeah.
they're also just trying to help his mom. But they formed a Facebook page called Standing for Stephen. And they're having a Halloween fundraiser that, most of us wouldn't be around for, but it's kind of fun. They have a silent auction and it's a costume party. They're having a Halloween costume contest associated with it. And you can learn all about that if you just want to go check it out. Over on that Facebook page. And again, that is Standing for Stephen. And if you look at the hashtag Standing for Stephen, there's quite a bit of coverage
And
coming
it's a
from that too.
PH, Stephen.
A PH Stephen. Yeah. I just think that's super sweet, that they're getting
That
some
is.
attention here and help because they were just thrown out in the cold. His case was just, it went cold immediately. And it became pretty clear that the haves did something to the have nots and that they just get away with that stuff.
Yeah, it does seem that maybe a lot of those kinds of stories are going to come out of this case or this group of cases. I can't even
Yeah.
think. We can't even call it a case. It's a lot more than one.
Yes, but Stephen's murder is, the case is reopened and is currently being investigated. So we will keep a very close eye on that as well. So that's numero uno. The other
Mhm.
thing that we know is that Murdaugh's housekeeper died a couple of
Right.
years ago, a few years ago, at his home. And her name was Gloria Satterfield, and she died in 2018. She supposedly fell on the front stairs of their home. That she supposedly tripped over the dogs and fell, and was injured and was taken by ambulance to the hospital, where she had lost most of her ability to speak and died in the hospital several weeks later.
Mhm.
So it was the result of a brain bleed, supposedly, but there was no autopsy done and no coroner contacted in her death. They did something
No.
shady.
That is shady because she died on her employer's property while
Well,
at work.
received an injury that
Right, received an injury there, and so I
resulted in
mean,
her death. Yeah.
there's laws around stuff like that, you
Mhm.
know? And I know this family of attorneys doesn't seem to think they have to follow those laws, but there are laws about things like that, and I'm sure that there should have been an
Mhm.
investigation into that
Yeah.
and a look at what kind of compensation was her family owed considering that she died from injuries that happened at work. I mean,
Yes.
any employer would have those responsibilities.
Well, never fear. Our hero, Alex, was there to help.
Oh boy.
So, the day of the funeral, he pulled her sons aside. She had two adult sons. Told them, I'm going to take responsibility for this. And here's the lawyer for you to go to. They sent him to Fleming. And Fleming happens to be the godfather of his children and his college roommate and good
Oh,
friend.
of Alex's children?
Mhm.
Oh
So
boy.
he says, I'm going to send you to this attorney, to Fleming, and he is going to help you file suit against my property so that my uh, insurance has to pay out. So that was the plan. That's what he told them that they were going to do. So
Wow.
he sends them to Fleming, who, as it turns out, has been involved in lots of his dirty deeds
Mhm.
and currently has his law license suspended while they investigate his bullshit. So that's
Oh
also
boy.
happening. But so they file this lawsuit, and they think, of course, that this Fleming guy is looking out for their best interest, but he's not.
No.
And he advises them to sign over the management of their mother's estate to an executive at a local bank where Murdaugh does business because it'll be easier that way.
Oh, good lord.
So they do that. So there was a very large settlement that should have gone to this family and did not. So here's what the New York Times says. They said 5 months later, court records show a judge approved a settlement agreement to pay the sons 2.8 million from Mr. Murdaugh's insurers and award more than 1 million in lawyers' fees. But the sons say they didn't know that. They never actually heard about that deal.
Where the hell did that money go then?
Well, it went to Murdaugh.
Oh, for God's sake.
So it turned out Fleming sent the money to Murdaugh, and this is all in court now. This has all been laid bare, of course.
Mhm.
And now Fleming's saying, well, he thought that Murdaugh was giving the money to the boys. He had no idea that Murdaugh kept it. He had no idea.
Well, why should he have ever given it to Murdaugh in the first place? What a liar.
Totally. Well, that's right.
Wow.
He's in trouble because of this and other things that he's done with
Mhm.
Murdaugh that are unsavory. But at any rate, so last week, Fleming's firm says, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! We just didn't know. We're going to pay back all the lawyers' fees and the settlement. Like we'll make this right, right? Because now they're looking real bad thanks to Murdaugh."
Right?
Anyway, so that's two of the big things that have come out of this week. But as far
Hopefully
as
her
we
family gets their
know,
money. What the hell?
right, right,
If not, they
again,
better be right on the news.
taking
Like,
advantage of poor people in their town. And these people were freaking millionaires. It's
yeah,
just so ridiculous and terrible.
it is.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. So that's basically where things are. So the big things, just more information in the death of the work being done on behalf of Stephen Smith. Of course, now hearing that Alex is a person of interest in the family murders and learning a little more about the fraud that happened. And he is going to be facing charges for fraud because of, because of the housekeeper situation. The only other thing that came out this week that I think was notable is that his brother will no longer represent his son's estate.
I saw that.
So his brother is
There's
also an
kind of a
attorney, of
big
course.
breakup going on in the family.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
They have had it. So Paul, of course, is the son that has died.
Mhm.
And the brother, his uncle, was representing his estate. And there, he says that there has been a recent discovery of evidence that has made him decide that he no longer wants to be associated with this estate.
Well, he's gonna have to distance himself a long ways to not get caught up in this.
Yes. Yep. Oh, which reindeer is in my? Yeah, this is Blue, our little Basset corgi. She either gets to come in my office when I'm on the air and wander around and make noise with her toenails on the floor, or sit outside the door and cry and make noise. So she, because she wants to be like right on top of me all the time.
Of course.
Did he hide money from her family? Oh yeah, we answered that. Yeah.
Wonder where the living son is in all of this. I haven't seen anything from him. Have you?
Mm-mm.
He
I
is
have not.
silent.
But he is. I can't even imagine. Yeah.
Oh, right.
However, there is certainly a lot of conversations about this family and what else has gone on in this town.
This is going to open a massive investigation into them of what other things have happened. Because
Can you
just these
imagine how mad and probably scared some of his associates are right now?
Oh yeah,
Like
because
Fleming the Great. Yeah.
he just opened Pandora's box for them.
I hope that every person in that town that these fools have ever wronged get a piece of this pie.
I
Because
hope so too.
my God, they have gotten away with a lot.
Oh man, I'm so tired of that kind of bullshit because we see lots of it here, and I'm sure you all do too. That wealthy people just get away with whatever, and poor people get screwed. I mean, it makes me think of like Jenna Holm, for example. We've covered the Jenna Holm case. She was wrongly charged with involuntary manslaughter of a police officer because she was in the middle of an incident with the police and had been tased and was laying on the ground while one police officer accidentally hit and killed another one with a car.
Yep.
She sat in jail for over a year, you guys, for a crime that she has now, the charges against her have now been dropped.
Yep.
Like, I want her to sue the county. Like, I'm hoping she's going to for that year because she couldn't afford to bond out.
Yep.
On a charge that is no longer even valid against her.
For erroneous charges. Yep.
Totally ridiculous.
Absolutely. Well, that's Murdaugh. I mean, I'm sure there'll be more coming. There will be, but that's what we know for now.
Well, there's all this real estate
outstanding for Stephen Smith. His mom is so sweet, you guys. She just makes you want to cry. She's so sweet and is so humble and so relieved that some people are actually, acting like they care about her.
Yes.
And her son.
It's awful. Well, hopefully what's happening here is a good example of what's going to happen in other places.
Yeah.
We got to break up this crap, don't we?
Yes. Yep.
Well, last but never least are the updates in the Daybell case. And we're not going to get to all of them because, oh my God, you guys.
Right.
Hundreds of hours of video. Yeah, it's insane. But the judge did rule, you may know if you were with us last week playing prior bingo in the change of venue hearing, that the judge did rule for a change of venue in this case.
Yes.
Forthwith. You are correct, Jerry. Yes. So.
How did forthwith not make it onto the bingo card?
How did it not? Because that's another one.
It's going on the next one.
Yeah, yes, it is. So they're hoping and praying that Ada County is going to take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's in Boise, the Boise area here in Idaho. We have it on pretty good authority that Ada County really doesn't want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will they be pressured into it or forced with a court order? We don't know.
We'll see.
Because there's still something else to be argued here, and we don't have a court date on it yet, but it is the motion that the prosecutor filed to sequester a jury, and the idea that there could be a change of venue simply by bringing a sequestered jury in from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Prosecutor Wood is saying that no matter what we do, that jury is going to have to be sequestered, which,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they are. What a voluminous decision, yeah. So it's not a surprise. They also ruled that it can't be in the 7th Judicial Court region, which is our whole area here, because of course not. Can a county say we'd rather not? Well, we're not 100% sure.
Our understanding is that they can. That they can say we are too overwhelmed ourselves and we do not want to carry the financial burden and we can't take it. We'll see what happens.
And it can come down to that they want the county where the crime was committed to pay for the trial in the new county, which, we've talked about that's unlikely to happen. So we don't know. There's still lots of fighting to go on, but I still really think that it's likely that they're going to bring a jury in from somewhere else and sequester them and keep this local. I really think if it even goes to trial at all.
Right. Which there's a good chance it won't.
Yeah.
But
everyone knows this case and everyone hates them.
Everyone hates them. Yeah.
I mean, how could you not? Yeah. And this huge document dump coming out of Arizona.
Oh my God.
It just makes it so much worse. But I did want to say,
I think Idaho is so mad at Arizona for releasing all of that.
I bet they are, because
they're not happy.
Much in here that relates to the murders that happened here.
Yeah.
So we're going to do another update episode and really get into all the documents and stuff. But one thing that I really wanted to just point out is that Chandler police detectives wrote this, that they believe Charles Vallow was murdered and that his suspected killers were motivated by greed for his life insurance money, lust for each other, and strange religious beliefs. So they're rolling it all into one.
There you go.
Yeah. Like it's all the stuff that we all think all together. and I think they're right, that you can't really pull any of those things out. It's all of it.
No, there's a leg of all of it. Yeah. And did one thing empower another? Sure. They all did. It was a circle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the stuff about coming out about how she likely plotted to kill Joe Ryan, we've been talking about that for a year or more now, that there are lots of people in Lori's life that absolutely, I think even including Charles, according to one of the text messages that he sent to her, am I going to end up like Joe? That she did plot to kill Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
They've been unable to prove that, unfortunately, because too much time has passed and he didn't get a proper autopsy at the time.
Yeah.
I just want to know how many people they killed that we don't know about, right? Are there others?
Very valid question at this point.
It is a valid question at this point. Who else might be missing? I don't know. I'm sure that that's a thought in Arizona and here.
Died in ways that
died in weird circumstances, for sure. Yeah. I'm sure that the investigators in Arizona and here have that in the back of their heads. Like, is this everybody?
Yeah.
So there's so much we don't know yet, and I want to do an update show and really get into some of the interviews and what we've learned. Well, I did really appreciate that they said, you know what? It's all of it. It's greed. It's creepy lust for each other. Oh, creepy lust for each other.
Oh my God. The love stories.
Oh, they're so gross.
there was a text thread of Chad basically writing a little love story between he and Lori that like carried on every day. And my God, he says he realized
James
that
and Elena.
yes, and he's the grown-up version of Harry Potter, and he has to go and live under the stairs in his mundane life for a certain time, but then every few weeks he gets to spend some time with his goddess lover, and then he's better for a little while. Poor Chad. Yeah.
That makes me so angry for Tammy and for their children. It's just horrible, implying somehow that, his situation was so terrible.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
clearly has a family who loves him. His kids are still standing by his side.
Mm.
I wonder how they're feeling now, though, because this just breaks
I can
wide
imagine.
open the fact that he was full on having an affair with
Yeah.
gross Lori.
Yeah, I don't think that can be denied at this point. But then
No.
again, his kids have, they've been
They're pretty deep in denial.
up to this point, which, you know what? I just feel sorry for him.
I
My
do
God.
too. I just can't blame him at this point. I don't know what I'd do either.
Well, and this is just such a public case. Like everything is laid bare. There is nothing that's sacred in this case. Everything
Right.
is laid bare to the public. I can only imagine how horrifying it is for them in every way. But the
Yeah.
more this stuff from Arizona comes out,
Yeah,
boy,
it's tough to deny now.
it's so
I wish
damning.
Tammy had gotten the email about the affair. A lot of people believe that she did, but we've not seen a response back to him to confirm that, in fact, she did read it.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
But know that it may not have mattered. There has been plenty of talk about Chad having affairs before Lori.
Yes.
And we believe that it's very possible that, this was just the next one in a string of.
Right.
I'll tell you one thing for me. Why did they come here? Why did they come here?
Why did they come here?
Their families are all in Utah. They had a home in Utah. They had a life in Utah. And for some reason in 2016, they cut bait and moved to Salem, Idaho. Why?
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder if he was having an affair in Utah and they moved here to break that off and regroup and set things back right. And
I'll bet. It wouldn't surprise me at all that that's exactly what happened.
I mean, he
Because,
tells
yeah,
her
it is
tale
weird.
about that they vacationed in Island Park in a cabin and just fell in love with the area and just wanted to come here. And I call BS on that. I
do
just really
too.
wonder why they came here in the first place. What's actually true?
Well, and why did they buy that property out there in Salem? I mean, Salem isn't a town. It is an area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it was
Yeah.
similar to where they'd been living before. Yeah.
No, I know. It is odd to me. It's odd to me. And, he wasn't working. He was just doing his book stuff.
Yeah.
And she moved here and got a job and was supporting them.
That's the
don't
thing
know.
about all this, that gross jackass. She was supporting him through
Mhm.
while all this was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we will definitely keep following this closely, and we will do another update episode with some more stuff. But the granting of the change of venue, not surprising.
Mhm.
Curious to see how it's actually going to come about now, and if some counties are going to be like, yeah, we don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole, and can they say no?
Mhm.
We will see.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen if they argue for a sequestered jury, and if they bring in a jury from somewhere else.
Yeah. Yep. So we're keeping an eye on the docket, to see when the next thing is scheduled, and we'll be here for it.
We certainly will.
And if you didn't already, I did do, if you haven't seen it already, last Friday, I did a pop-up talking about the patriarchal blessing that
Yes.
that Chad gave Alex. That's really quite significant. And especially like in the LDS world, that's quite the shocker, honestly. So if you haven't watched that, you may go back and find that in Friday's pop-up shows last week, because you need to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just another creepy step outside of their basic religion, but also the way that it sort of foreshadows what's going to happen to him is real creepy.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's all we've got, you guys.
Does it seem like are your heads spinning yet? Mine is.
Yeah, mine is too. We will be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Mountain for the Psychic Hour. And I do have a pop-up plan for this weekend. I know I didn't get one done last weekend. It's just
Me too.
hard, you guys. We do a lot of podcasting.
Mm.
Sometimes we get to it, sometimes we don't. But I
Yeah.
have something planned that you are going to want to watch for. There is a case going on right now that, holy shit. That's all I'm going to say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I do too. I'm going to be traveling Friday, but I'm going to get one up before I leave, so you guys will have that. I want to address this. Happy Light or Life and Light said, I heard that the greater Rexburg area was a city of light area in prepper lore. That is absolutely true, actually.
Yep.
That is
That is,
absolutely
and
true.
that is part of this whole story
Mhm.
and their
Yeah.
beliefs.
Well, and in fact, I mean, Rexburg just announced that they're going to build a second temple here,
Yes.
and people are just losing their minds about it. It's such an exciting, it's such a huge
And a
honor.
missionary training center.
Missionary training center. And yes, I mean, and Rexburg considers itself to be a little mini Zion. You know, our city motto is America's family community. But yeah, it's a
There's
okay.
always an
Yeah,
underbelly.
Dad was trying to buy some property, we think quite near his home, right on the river, for a camp. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
it's true.
the whole
That
tent cities thing. Yep.
that was discussed in the preliminary, and we have really tried hard. We think we know who the realtor was. We're quite sure we know who the realtor was, but we don't know where the land is. And we've pushed, we've tried. We're still hoping to try to find out exactly where that land is so that we can take a photo or take some video and show you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, there are other groups in the area not related to Chad and Lori. Absolutely. Yep, that are building camps. There's a camp in Chester that was purchased. And Chester is what, maybe 15 miles away from Chad's house?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yep. That is happening. It was not just Chad. These beliefs are pervasive here.
I'm personally staying in my house in case anyone was wondering.
What? You're not going to go to a white tent city or a black tent city or a green tent city?
I am not. I'm
Purple
staying
tent city?
right
I mean,
here
come
in
on,
my house.
man.
No, I'm gonna pass that right along to some other.
In fact, there is an event that happens here every year. Oh, Paula, I didn't realize that was you. Well, hello, beautiful. I like that name. That's perfect for you. There is an event that goes on here every year called Rabbit Stick. And
Yeah.
Rabbit Stick is a thing for preppers. It's an event for preppers that they are teaching them, I don't know, how to skin a rabbit, things like that.
Probably.
But yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Brian Eaton, I think you mean Eaton, right? Interviewed the Wyoming coroner, and the doctor said Gabby had lots of evidence to show that she had evidence consistent with prolonged domestic violence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we all know where that's going, don't we?
Yep. Boo.
Yeah.
Boy.
All right.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Bunch of weirdos. Agreed, Cranky. Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for being prepared for the future. I am. And it is a very Mormon thing to have food storage. We're taught that, in the LDS church, they are taught that from birth. There are a lot of families around here that have a great deal. I have a neighbor who has a 2-car garage that is packed from floor to ceiling, that entire garage with food storage.
Yep.
On pallets. It's
mostly expired.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, there's many thousands of dollars worth of food there that's probably mostly expired. But there's been a belief for a very long time in the LDS church that at some point the food supply would collapse, the government would collapse, and you'd be on your own.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. Looks like we're about to get kicked off, so I think we better finish up here.
I think so. We got frozen. All right.
We sure did. Well, thank you all very much for being here, and we will see you tomorrow night. We are True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Have a great night.
Take care.